Hello, grade 11. I hope you're well. Unfortunately, I'm not, so I'm afraid I can't be with you today. But I have put this lesson together and I just wanted to go through what I'd like you to do in this lesson and also what I expect you to finish by the end of the week. All right. So this is based around Beauty and the Beast. It's called Mrs. Beast. And the first few questions are just getting you to make some comparisons between men and beasts and beauty and all these ideas that are brought up that we've seen elsewhere in her poems and how that links to global issues. There's some information about the fairy tale and where it comes from. You can just read through that. Then, what I'd like you to do is read the poem, read it slowly and carefully. Make sure you look up any words or references or people that you don't get, and think about what Duffy's trying to show. Now, obviously, this is Duffy, so it's going to be about gender, stereotypes, power, relations, gender roles, etc. Then, what I'd like you to do is think about the opening and the conflation or the confusion of language and power, which shouldn't be a new subject to us by now. And then the characterization of Mrs. Beast. Then I'd like us to look quite closely at the first stanza, thinking about myths, legends, and fairy tales. These are quite important for the world's wife and what she's trying to say throughout the whole of the world's wife, and this idea of putting them straight. Also, how does she challenge and speak to the reader directly here? Then I'd like you to do a little bit of research. You might want to work with a partner on this to look at these characters. Some of these you'll know, some of these you might not. You have to look up. What do they have in common? So, how are the characters of the female characters that appear in stanza one? Sorry, stanza four and stanza six. How are they? How might they be related? And we'll go through these answers next time. So, don't worry if you have any questions. Then I'd like you to practice just identifying some techniques and features because that's always good practice. And there's a couple of questions there to help you with stanza one. The other stanzas we're going to go through much quicker. So 2 and 3, I want you to be thinking about how she uses language to create the characters. 4 to 6, I want you to be thinking about the game of poker, the card game. And there's some very traditional, stereotypical images there. And think, how is she subverting gender stereotypes through the game of poker and through the description of these women playing poker together? There's a couple of specific things I'd like you to look at here. A couple of images there that I'd like to specifically look at that we'll be focusing on because they're important. And then the final bit to analyse is an intertextual allusion to W.H. Auden The More Loving One, where there's some overlap here between Auden's final lines and Duffy's. If you've got time, I'd like you to make some comparisons between Mrs. Beast and Little Red Cap because I think there's some very interesting comparisons there. And then the sort of big question I'd like you to have a look at is how does Little Red Cap maybe set the agenda for The World's Wife as a first poem, and as the penultimate one, how does Mrs. Beast maybe stand as a manifesto for The World's Wife? And the last thing I just want you to start thinking about making some links to global issues. Okay. Hopefully, everything being well, I should be back in on Friday where we can finish off anything we've not finished. And also you can answer me any questions. So you need to make some really good progress on this today. I would say you need to get to at least the poker session, which if you're working carefully and with focus and with a friend and you're on it, then you should be able to get it done. I am going to want to see your class notes for this, so please make sure you are thorough and detailed in your responses and that you're not just rushing through this. You are going to be doing a practice IO oral assessment next week on this poem, so you do need to know it well, all right? So it's not a free lesson just because I'm not there. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you're well, and I will see you soon.